Hey guys, my name is Matimio, and welcome to another episode of Sunday Mailbox. This is a video series where you, the viewer, can submit your gaming or Battlefield-related questions, and then I will give my humble opinion on them. To get the formalities out of the way real quick, if you would like to submit your own question that can be featured in an upcoming episode, you can do so by leaving a comment down below or by sending me a Facebook and Twitter message. The first question for the day comes from Big Hero, and it is, are you surprised that Black Ops 3 won't have a campaign for the old-gen consoles? Yeah, I was very surprised when I learned about this the other day because I assumed that if they ever were going to bring Call of Duty back to the old gen systems, that it was going to be an all or nothing type of deal. Admittedly though, this actually makes me even more excited to play Black Ops 3. Some of you might be thinking, what the hell are you talking about, Matt? How in the world is bringing only the multiplayer to those systems make you more excited to play the game? Well, one of the critiques that everyone makes for this franchise is that they never do anything to push the boundaries. Each game basically feels almost exactly the same as the last one. Sure, they make improvements, they try to make it fresh and interesting, but because the formula is so successful, they've had no reason to really push anything. Like, the graphics look exactly the same. If you play Modern Warfare 2 and then jump into, let's say, Call of Duty Ghost, I would not blame you if you thought that they were the same game because the graphics look practically identical. The gameplay itself hasn't changed a whole lot, and so the simple fact that in this new Black Ops 3, they're changing it to the point where it can't even run on the old gen system brings me hope that they are trying to push the boundaries here. Is it going to be a game changer? Probably not. We are still talking about Call of Duty. I don't think that it's going to be an epic drama where it's going to be the best story ever, but it's still a step in the right direction, and it will hopefully be the first true next-gen, or now current-gen, Call of Duty, and that does make me excited. Really what this means, though, at the end of the day, is that this is the final nail in the coffin for the old-gen consoles. They have had a long and wonderful life, but the fact that Call of Duty, a series and franchise that I assumed was going to be developed on those systems for forever, for the rest of time, the fact that they are now finally making this transition, I think it's safe to say that very few games in the future are going to be developed for that old technology and hardware. Does this suck for gamers who are still using Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3? Absolutely. You're still going to be able to play the multiplayer, which honestly is the main reason why you play the game, but I think for progress and to finally get a truly current-gen Call of Duty, this makes me excited. And so just in general, while I was very surprised by it, it was a pleasant surprise. The next question for the day comes from Ashley, and it is, do you think that it would be a good idea to change the way the AA Mine works so that instead of being a underpowered launcher, it instead cause minimal damage but offered results in a mobility hits? I am right there with you that something needs to be done to the AA mines because they are practically useless. Either just eliminate them from the game or at least make them viable. You guys know that I'm always in favor, if there is going to be a gadget, that it should be at least somewhat useful on the battlefield, and the AA mines don't fit into that category whatsoever. I will mention that they have seen some slight adjustment on the CTE. The most notable one is that you can now use this in tandem with all of the rockets. That is currently not possible in normal Battlefield. If you want to use the AA mines for whatever reason, you're having to give up your RPG, a SMA, or SRA. For most engineers, that is unacceptable. Like, the engineer revolves around the rocket, and so to give that up for a pretty much useless gadget, like, you're just never gonna see that. And of course, you never see that on the battlefield. And so the fact that you can now use this in tandem makes things a little bit more interesting. The scenario that I can think of is that if you wanted to use this alongside the Stinger, it could be a very potent way for you, only you, to take out a helicopter. If there is a low-flying helicopter, which is gonna be a lot more common now because there is below radar, if they're flying low and the AA mine activates their flares, then you have a basically free 50 damage against that helicopter with your Stinger missile. I should mention that Stinger missiles have also seen a pretty hefty upgrade in the CTE. We don't know if that's going to go live, but if they do, they're going to basically do a 50 damage to all aircrafts, and so this might become a much more potent combination. Also what it means is that if they do something along the lines where it it does get a mobility hit against a helicopter, if you're using one or more of the dumbfire rockets or something like the SRA, that could make it much easier for you to land shots against these vehicles. If you come across a low-flying helicopter that's disabled and you have a dumbfire rocket, while it's not a guaranteed kill, it is significantly easier to take them down, especially if they're like a little bird. Little birds on their own are going to zip around at Mach 5, but if they're low and they're disabled, that's a much easier to target to take down. And so with this change, the fact that you can simply use this in combination with the rockets, this might elevate the power of the AA mines. That said though, I know that some people may not be too keen on this idea. A lot of people don't like the idea of having something that you can place down on the ground and automatically locks on to an enemy helicopter that flies on over. There are already a crazy amount of things in this game that locks onto vehicles, and while they are going to be buffing the countermeasures for every aircraft, they're going to be reducing the cooldown. I think they've also made them more reliable. If they do buff or make AA mines more prevalent in Battlefield 4, this is going to mean that you're just going to get locked on for more targets, and while yes, they have been buffed in the countermeasures, it's not going to mean a lick of anything when a Stinger missile is going to fly directly after you just blew your flares on an AA mine. And so only time will tell at this point if this gadget is going to see a resurgence in popularity in Battlefield 4. If I had to give my honest opinion, these changes aren't going to be enough, but to some people that might be a good thing. Some people think that this should just be completely eliminated from the game, and I'm kind of in this category. I mean, sure, I think that all gadgets should be viable, but honestly, some gadgets I don't even think should have been added into the game, and the AA mines may be in that category. But I'd like to know what you guys think about this gadget. Do you think that it should be an upgrade? Do you think that it should stay pitiful and completely useless because you hate the design, you hate just the mere idea of this gadget in the game? Let me know down below, because I know this is quite a divisive topic. The next question is, what if DICE decided to make fewer maps for the next Battlefield, but allowed the server owner to select time of year like summer or winter, time of day, and weather like stormy, cloudy, or sunny? Well, while I love the idea of being able to select a map and choose what time of year and day you're able to play on, like, can you imagine playing Caspian Border in all the seasons and then at night on all of those different seasons? Like, that sounds cool. Like, that sounds absolutely incredible. But if they take away maps to do that, like instead of like 15 maps at release, we only got like 8, I'm gonna go with a big fat no on it. At the end of the day, maps and weapons are your variety in a first-person shooter, and the more maps you take away, unless they're godlike, unless they're strike a CanCan worthy, all of them, all 8 of them, are just magnificent, and they work flawlessly in all of the different seasons and daytimes, then I just wouldn't want that. Like, I want to be able to play on a wide variety of maps, and to take that away just for an aesthetic change doesn't seem like a step in the right direction. Really, the only way that I could see this happening is if they do it right, is that no, they just bring all of these maps, but then the engine itself is able to create all of these different scenarios. So right now what DICE has to do is that they have to painstakingly go through and change the map depending on the day and night cycle. That's the reason why it's taken so long to create the Siege of Shanghai or even Zavad Night Shift for night combat. Like, they had to go in personally and make those changes. And so if the engine itself was able to do that, and they maybe have to go in and make some small tweaks here and there, and then do it for all the seasons, then I could see this work. But to actually take away development time and have less maps at release, that doesn't sound like a good idea, at least for me. This could be the future of video games. This could be the future of Battlefield, but I think it is going to have to revolve around the engine. But yeah, guys, that is about it for today's Sunday Mailbox. I hope you enjoyed. As always, if you would like to submit your own question that could be featured in an upcoming episode, you can do so by leaving a comment down below or by sending me a Facebook and Twitter message. But until tomorrow, guys, have a good one and take it easy.